So, looking at Ultra Magnus here in robot mode, I can tell you that from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head, he stands about 9 inches tall. If you count these pylons here, it comes to about 10 inches tall. So, pretty good size there in terms of height. Although we'll see he's not actually a masterpiece scale figure, nor is he aesthetically designed to be a masterpiece figure. So, nonetheless, you can see here his design is pretty cool, even though he may not fit into some of your masterpiece or other Transformers collections. But let's take a look at him on his own merits first. Taking a look at the head sculpt, very, very nice. Very Ultra Magnus looking. Nice detail here on the chest in terms of the sculpt, in terms of the paint. Nice just detail there all around. And if we take a look at the side of the figure here, you can see details here that will later actually make more sense in his trailer mode. And looking at the back, you can see he does have bits of areas where there's some hollowed out plastic. So, moving on to his articulation, you can see that his head does rotate left and right. Got the shoulders all the way around. Arms out to the side as such. Bend at the elbow. There is no real wrist articulation, but you do have the 4 main fingers here on a hinge. As far as waist articulation, there is no waist articulation due to how the figure transforms. Got nice ratchets there on the hips. Swivel at the thigh. A bend at the knee. And then you have a unique system here at the ankle. There's just this joint here, as you can see. You can slide the actual foot back like that, but really I find it's better to have the foot forward like this, and I believe that's the proper transformation. So you do have that hinge there to have a little bit of movement at the ankle. So Combining Wars Ultra Magnus does have a secret hidden in his chest. If you take this section here, untab it like so, you can see the cab portion of vehicle mode. If you split the cab apart here, it reveals a figure inside, which is Minimus Ambus. And you can take him out here. And what I want to show you about this cab section, well, not cab section, but really the pilot section for Minimus Ambus, is the incredible amount of very cool sculpting detail there. You can see here there are footrests for Minimus Ambus. There's his seat, and you can see they're just sculpting here on the side like control panels and such. Really, really nice. I'm sure a good painter could bring out the detail really nice there. There's some pegs here where the actual fists for Minimus Ambus do peg into. So very, very cool chest detail inside of Ultra Magnus there. So really nice to see that. So now focusing on Minimus Ambus, you can see there's a nice little bit of detail there in terms of sculpting and paint. As far as articulation goes, the shoulders are on ball joints, the actual hips are on ball joints, and there's a hinge at the knee. And I don't believe the head moves. No, it doesn't. So this guy transforms into a vehicle mode. So to transform Minimus Ambus into his vehicle mode, first thing you want to do is there's this section here on his back that actually is on a hinge joint. And it's going to actually hinge upwards like that. And then you can collapse the legs here, forming the back of the vehicle. And finally you bring the arms to the side. There's a tab and a slot there. Those should tab into the side like so. And there is the car mode. I guess it's maybe a hover car mode for Minimus Ambus. So as you can see, not very big, but I really like the aspect of him being able to be, piloting, so to speak, the Ultra Magnus Armor. So you do have the actual display option to include him in his vehicle mode here. So pretty cool. So Ultra Magnus does have a lot of weapon accessories. As you can see here on his shoulders, you can mount the missile pods for a very G1 Ultra Magnus look. And then you have these 2 nice rifles here. The problem is with the rifles is they are very, very loose. And you can close the fist, but there is no apparent way to actually peg them into the palm of the hand. I don't see anything there that could, you know, like in the Masterpiece, you'll have like a little tab on the handle and a slot there. You can tab it in, which helps the weapon to stay in the hand. Not so with Combining Wars Ultra Magnus. So it's unfortunate and annoying to pose the figure with these weapons. But you can see they're nice weapons. I mean, they're big, you know, nicely detailed as well. So you do have these two rifle type of weapons. Now what you can do is you can take the missile pods off and combine them with the rifles to form a kind of a hammer. So to do that, I'm going to take this section here, peg them together, and then they plug in, I believe, facing downward, like so. And then you have a hammer, or hammer staff, or whatever you want to call it. Order in the court. Order in the court. So yeah, he can be posed with this, although again, like I said before, you need to find a way to get this securely in his hand. There is actually a little indent there. You can see where my finger is. There's an indent there. You can kind of put the part of the staff through there and then get his hand around there, and actually holds in pretty well, actually. So yeah, he can wield his hammer of judgment, or whatever it is, hammer of solace, whatever. But yeah, you do have that option there to display Ultra Magnus here with this type of weapon here. But you know, basically, for me, I prefer to have the G1 look with the missile pods on the side of his shoulders, and then kind of double wielding his two rifles. If only the rifles could stay in his hand properly, that would be the only gripe I have with those. So there are the weapon accessories for Ultra Magnus. Alright, so just to give you an idea of the size / scale of Combining Wars Ultra Magnus, I brought in Voyager class Generations Springer, Deluxe RC, Classic Sunstreaker, and finally Masterpiece Silver Streak. So for this size comparison, I brought out MP10 Prime and MP Ultra Magnus, just to kind of illustrate that the Leader Class Combining Wars Ultra Magnus here in the center is not really a Masterpiece sized or scaled figure, nor is it really aesthetically the same in terms of Masterpiece design elements. So really, not really going to fit into your Masterpiece collection. Here is a comparison with Fans Project's City Commander. Alright, so here's a comparison with Generations Leader Class Megatron and Generations Leader Class Jetfire. Alright, so let's go ahead and transform Ultra Magnus here into his vehicle mode. First thing you want to do is you want to make sure that Minimus Ambus is removed from his chest, because you cannot transform him with Minimus Ambus inside of his chest area. So we want to go ahead and open up the chest here. Rotate the head in so that it sits inside the chest. Take the cab, rotate it back, and you'll see that it actually can rotate around 180 and actually will tab into place. Then there's a little slider section here. Go ahead and pull the cab all the way out so they can rotate like that. So moving on to the rest of the figure here, you basically want to have this white section here so that it's lined up with the red like that, and so therefore you're going to want to move and rotate the legs up like that, and then go ahead and come back here. These panels come on tab from the back of the leg. You can see there's just a slot and a tab. Rotate them to the side. And we'll take the feet, and they will fit into this recessed area here. Alright. Go ahead and rotate these back here. And then this blue side panel here is actually tabbed into the leg rather is tabbed into the side panel there. There's a little tab there, and when you untap it, you can rotate it like that, And there's actually another tab right there that will tab into. And we'll do the same thing over here. Untab from the side of the leg, rotate down, and tab that into place like so. So now we'll get the legs straightened back out here. So the next thing we want to do is, before you actually tab the legs together to form the rear section of the trailer, you want to bring down this piece here. This was the chest section. This is going to go in between the legs. And there actually is, you can see there's a little bit of indents here, here, and here. Those correspond to these 2 points here. And then this center section is going to go right between the legs. So this all should come together. And then you can tab the legs in place. Now, remember these red panels here? They actually have a section here that rotates out to the side like that, and then it tabs into place right there. And I'm going to make sure that tabs in like that, and we'll do the same thing over here. Tab into place, and there we have the base of the trailer here section, like so. Then there are, and actually we want to go ahead and rotate these around. So you just have it looking like this. Now you'll see there's tabs and slots, these will come together and they will tab in place. This transformation is a bit finicky because you have all these tabs that have to go together, and it can be kind of a pain in the ass sometimes. So now we got it looking like this, right? So we're going to take these two white rails and push them in, and then we want to actually go ahead and, before we tab these two parts together back here, we want to take these and extend them out like that, and then you can tab them together. Sorry about that. So these come together. I always forget to do that when I'm transforming it back into cab mode here. And then there are some tabs right here and over here, or slots rather, and then the tabs will tab into the slots. And you can see, just kind of work your way around, make sure everything's tabbed into place. And then finally you can bring up the these two sections here, and they actually have, if you look here, they have tabs on the side that will correspond to slots, so they kind of just go around there and should tab into the back, forming the back side of the trailer there. So there is the transformation for Ultra Magnus from robot into his trailer mode. Alright, so let's have a look at Ultra Magnus here in his truck car carrier mode. As you can see here, all the weapons do peg into the back of the trailer. You have the two missile pods here, and then the two rifles here are plugged in via ports there on the back. So you do have that storage there. Certainly you can take these off. I think I would probably prefer to have these rifles stored away somewhere rather than pegged on to the truck mode here, but you know, it's a preference up to you. So looking at the mode here, looks pretty good. There are some issues though that I think are worth pointing out. One is, if you take a look at the cab section here, this white section here compared to the trailer, I don't know about you guys, but it looks just out of scale, too small in comparison with the trailer. I think this is based on the IDW Ultra Magnus, so it could be accurate to that depiction, but just looking at it without knowing anything about the IDW Ultra Magnus here, the cab looks a bit small compared to the trailer. I think it should be bigger, but that's maybe just my opinion. You do have rotation here at the cab, so you can swing the trailer around to this degree, and that's achieved through there's a little bit of a slider down here. You can kind of push this forward and it kind of locks it in place, and as you can see, you can achieve that kind of look there. So there is that. So as far as the ability to carry actual vehicles, I happen to have Drift here from Age of Extinction. He appears to be out of scale with the trailer, perhaps, but he does physically fit on there, as well as Bumblebee here. So they do have, they can be stored on that trailer there. You can rotate these bits down here if you want to simulate, driving the vehicle up onto the ramp and into the car carrier. So there's that kind of display play value there. So there is that. Now going back to what I think about the actual truck and car carrying mode here, I think as a whole, considering the cab and the trailer, I think it's small. I mean, this is supposed to be a leader class size figure, and I'm just not buying that this is worth that price, because as you know, that's leader class price is around $46 these days. So compare that with the current Megatron and a tank versus a cab car carrier. Megatron shouldn't be that big, and just you get lots of plastic here. They're both leader class figures, but Megatron really feels more like a leader class figure. I feel like I'm getting more value out of Megatron than I do Ultra Magnus here. And a lot of people have made reference to the fact that there's a lot of hollowed out parts in the plastic here. I presume on Hasbro's part for them to save costs, but it just kind of makes me feel like I'm not getting my bang for the buck, so to speak. So again, I mean, just this fantastic bulky tank here versus a cab with a car carrier. Just even if you don't take into consideration the scale, just the amount of plastic, it feels like you get much more value for your money with Megatron. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. Alright, well, thanks for watching. This has been my review of Transformers Combining Wars Leader Class Ultra Magnus.